Snake, Metal Gear's through there. Hurry. Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Metal Gear Solid Ghost Babel. In the last part, we defeated Viper finally after him being built up for pretty much the entire game before this. And now here we are at the final level of the game. And before you head north, take the advantage and stock up on more or less everything here. Why? You're gonna need it. Notice how a lot of it is explosives. Yeah, that's gonna come in handy. But before we head any more north, let's get out the C4 and the bulletproof vest, because taking less damage is good. By the way, I love this song here. It's one of my favorite songs in the game, and once you know it, it's only in the last level. Curse you, fates of cruelness. Also, wow, this road is long. What? Well, then again, you kind of need it to get large cargo out, wouldn't you? Oh, wild legs. I see that the little vendetta has been played out to its conclusion. That's a big Metal Gear. General! Once a loser, always a loser, eh, Snake? The last one standing is the winner. And that would be myself. Not you, not Black Chamber, and certainly not America. I used them all, you see. Parker, Black Chamber. What? Weren't you sent out to cover up Outer Heaven in Project Babel, or rather the truth, about GLF in the US? Just like that woman. GLF in the US? What truth? So you are nothing but a pawn too. Just like Viper and his lot. There's a connection between GLF and the States and Outer Heaven? Fine, I'll tell you all about it, if you win. Winner takes all, loser relinquishes all. That's the way of the world. And you will abide by it, Snake. Snake, Metal Gear must be destroyed. Take out its legs first of all. Hit it hard with mines and C4. And Campbell just gave us more or less the entire thing to do in the first phase of the fight against this Metal Gear. I actually forget what this one's name is. I'm looking that up right now. But yeah, the way you do it, look where its shadows are and try to place C4 or mines right below its feet and activate it in time. His feet do hurt, and if you get too close, fire will breathe out on you, so you have to stay towards the bottom half of the screen, but I am obviously bad at that. But very good at blowing myself up. Here it is. This thing is named Metal Gear GANDER. And once you know it, it's actually never named in the game itself. It's only in the supplementary material. Huh. Well, I have to say, it's actually a really cool looking design, but we've yet to see my favorite Metal Gear design. In fact, technically speaking, well, no, we'll halfway see it. Eventually. But yeah, this phase is pretty easy. As long as you keep an eye on where shadows are, it can trick you every now and then before it's going to land, but you have more than enough C4 and mines at this point, probably, so it's nothing too bad. I think I think if you actually run out of C4 or mines during this, you'll eventually run into boxes containing more, so that's nice of them. But try not to blow yourself up, because obviously C4 hurts. Also, I do not recall this road being this long. Well, that was easy. Metal Gear's down? You did it. No, not yet. Its legs may be down, but Metal Gear Gander is still a threat. Though, now the fight's actually pretty easy. It just showed us it's 3 weak points there. Well, actually, no, it's 4. There's 4 points you can hit it at. The 2 machine guns up in the front, and those 2 little pods right there. One just opened up right now. You want to take out the pods first, then start attacking the machine guns. Thankfully, it doesn't use its railgun in this fight. Well, actually, no, it can't because power stuff, right. Forgot about that for a second there. The first phase against this one, you're just trying to take out the pods on the top. Nothing too bad, but once we get rid of those, it's going to get a bit annoying because Also, it can also summon these drones randomly, but it rarely does this, in my experience at least. I've only ever seen it do this maybe 3 or 4 times in total. And they can be annoying, but they go away after a while, so I don't get the point, really. Either the best way to hit the pods here is either with grenades or Nikita missiles. In fact, that's what will be replenished if you run out of ammo in this area, is that you'll find ammo for your grenades and Nikita. But actually, once we destroy these pods on the top, once we'll have to start attacking the machine guns, what'll happen then is that the missile pod there in the back, the third thing that showed, will start shooting missiles out at us. 6 to 8 at a time, I believe. And they can be really annoying to dodge because the screen size, well, this game plays pretty well for what it is. The screen size sometimes isn't taken into account for in terms of enemy attacks. Mind you, it's a gigantic mech, so I wouldn't expect it to. But you'll see why. It's kind of annoying because there's very little space to maneuver around in this area. Though I just realized, looking at the radar now, there looks like a person disabled there. Huh, like we actually blew this thing's legs off. And that's one of those pods down. This fight can actually take a while if you don't know that you can start just spamming stuff. Like early on during the machine guns, one thing I forget to do is that you can actually just spam the attack button and it'll do damage, but I swear by the fact of invincibility frames not doing extra damage. Or wait, let me rephrase that. I swear by the fact that when things have invincibility flickering, they should not be damageable, but in this case they are. Yeah, if you just stand right around here, you really can't be touched much. Much, keyword. There we go. Now I have to start attacking these things. Oh, I actually forgot to put a title clip in there. What actually happened there was, that was a jump cut because I had to go eat again. Because these were all, because I actually, it's very rare that I record 2 parts in the same day. This was recorded the day after the last part, so that was dinner that day. Yeah, it was last Friday. I think I had, actually, what did I have? I forget. Either way, at this point, it just becomes you spamming all your weapons. Use your best explosives. Bulletproof vest is more or less the thing you should always have on, but if you need to heal, do it, because these things do a decent chunk of damage. Also, you may have noticed it by this point, I'm very late mentioning it, but after every, I think, boss fight or stage, I forget which, your health is increased. It's very minuscule. In fact, you probably won't notice it until the end of the game, and you're like, oh, that's bigger than it used to be. Oh, come on! What just happened there was that I pressed the B button again, while the Nikita was out of the launcher, which makes it self-destruct on its own. So I damaged myself. Ow! Solid Snake's a badass. Can take a missile to the face and doesn't care. Mind you, every Snake can do that. Aside from Metal Gear 1, because missiles really hurt in that game. And by that, I mean Metal Gear... actually, no, there weren't missiles in the first game, were there? Aside from yours. Huh. I'm already forgetting what happened in the Metal Gear 1 Let's Play when that was only a good... Actually, probably a good month ago plus. Huh. That's weird to think about. Again, I've also been really slow in recording this game in particular. The most annoying part of this fight is when you run out of ammo, really, and you just have to look around and hope that more spawns. Thankfully, though, we are almost at the next phase of the fight. I want to say one more hit. Actually, no, it's there now. When it's at the last, maybe 4th or so of its health, it'll start using its mouth there, or, you know, much more like crotch. Wow, I forgot about that jump cut entirely. That was actually my Skype going off, so actually someone called me there. Yeah, this is not a good day for recording. What we have to do here is start using our grenades, and I think possibly Nikitas, and firing them into that little hole there. At this point, though, the fight's more or less won, because Metal Gear Gander can be annoying, but once you get down to this, it's honestly pretty easy. Pretty cool fight for a Game Boy Color game, though. And that's the end of the Metal Gear fight. And I used 4 rations, and that's considered good. Oh my, wow. How you doing, General? Solid Snake. The name legend may have been propaganda, but it seems no exaggeration. I want the truth. All of it. A winner's privilege. After all, you have the right to know about Outer Heaven, Metal Gear, Project Babel, and the link between GLF and the US. Outer Heaven was a US-backed venture that provided mercenaries to its clients. It was a way to unofficially check anti-American forces, and the idea apparently originated with the DDCI of the time. What? But the field commander, Big Boss, was a loose cannon that broke out of the program, and Outer Heaven was brought down by you. As a part of a plausible denial of their involvement in Outer Heaven, the government constructed a hero myth, and handed you and Foxhound to the international media. That is the truth behind your rise to the status of legend. Shocking, isn't it, to learn that your glory was a staged one? And a connection between GLF and the US? Even after Outer Heaven collapsed. The relationship went on right into Project Babel. The US provided covert support for GLF. I was the field controller. The objective was diminishment of anti-American forces in the African continent. Provoke an ethnic minority in Gindra into a calculated conflict, then involve other neighboring nations. Create a climate of hostility to discourage the organized alliance, then send a contingent of US-dominated peacekeeping troops for an indefinite stay, where they can exercise control over the entire region. It was a bid to build a new world order, in the confusion of the post-Cold War era. A means to establish the US as the sole superpower, a single hegemony, over an artificial Babel. Manageable chaos. This was Project Babel. The brainchild of Parker, Army Chief of Staff. The return for my services was a lavish reward, and the guarantee of safety. Take this. This disc contains all the information that Parker ordered that woman soldier, Chris, to destroy. It's all here, proof of what I've just told you, including the details of all bank transactions. There's enough dirt here to bring down some of the highest people in the government. This is like a bomb ready to explode. This, too, is the winner's privilege. Do with it what you like. You deceived your people all this time. Your followers believe in you. So does Sophie. Yes, Sophie. I left her. Cruelly, too. But still she stayed with me as my lieutenant. But I never saw her smile after that. I didn't deceive them. I had no intention of being Parker's henchman in the first place. It was the aid I needed, and with it, I was going to break the bargain and build our country. The end justifies the means, especially when others have the faith in fiction. I only gave them the truth in the guise they wanted. Can a nation built by those means have any value? Ha! Doesn't the world operate on what you call those means? Everyone just pretends otherwise. Justice and ideals are nothing but words, after all. Well, well, so this is the way dreams end. Well, it's not the worst thing. Well, that was some big reveals. Well, I guess might as well get out of here. What? Viper! How are you alive? No, seriously, you were in an explosion. How? I told you, it's not over yet. Viper, still. Thanks for saving me the trouble of removing the general. He controlled Metal Gear to the end, and I had the pleasure of listening to your conversation. And so finally I know the identity of Anonymous. It was worth the trouble of leading you all the way out here. You. This was all a ploy to bring Anonymous out into the open. Seizure of Metal Gear, leading you and Campbell out here to Outer Heaven. All part of the plan. What does the Colonel have to do with this? You don't know what he did? Your dear friend Roy Campbell was in command of Foxhound that night 2 years ago. The Colonel? I figured that when Metal Gear's history repeated itself, and you and Colonel were pulled into the fray, Anonymous would have to get involved. 2 years I've waited for this moment. 2 long years. Damn it, the decision to call Campbell in and send me was made at the highest level. How? Could I have possibly been involved in that process? This is how. Oh, damn it, Colonel, not now. Snake, we have a problem. The 5th Black Chamber member... what? Hey! Colonel, what's going on? The 5th Black Chamber member was right here. Who is this? McBride. Surprise, Snake? After I survived 2 years ago, I parted ways from the others and slipped into your side. I changed everything. My face, name, past to gather information for our cause. Everything I did was for this moment. Do it, Viper. This is it. You may forget or refuse to acknowledge it. But our hell goes on, and it will go on until we destroy all of you, not just Anonymous. What did you just do? The bolts of vengeance, preparing for nuclear strike. How can that be? Metal Gear was destroyed. You're a fool. Did you think Metal Gear was just an armored transport for a nuclear payload? What? The nature of this beast is an integrated launch system with real-time relay control of 7 armed satellites, all with nuclear capability. The railgun's just a cherry on top. Armed satellites? Nuclear strike from planetary orbit? That's right. Able to strike any point on Earth without relying on ICBMs and impossible to defend against. You're going to murder millions of innocent lives just for your personal vengeance? Innocent. Grazing on spoon-fed justice and order content to ignore what goes on behind their fine words? Their crime is equal to that of Anonymous. No, their complacency is what makes Anonymous possible. This strike is for my murdered comrades. But that won't be the end. This is a declaration of war against Anonymous. I've just activated the elevator. Once Metal Gear's out on the surface, its signals will be transmitted and those 7 satellites will enter attack mode. In 90 seconds. I will stop you. Okay, Snake, give it your best shot. This is your last fight. Come on. Final boss fight against Viper. He's actually using his arm this time. So let's just try and shoot him. Okay, never mind. Do you think I fight dirty? I use any means I see fit to carry out our vengeance. The way this fight works is that he teleports randomly to either of the 4 corners. We will have our vengeance, no matter what. However, he's really easy because the way he usually is that he teleports from the right to the left and vice versa. I won't be beaten. I owe that much to my fallen comrades. Obviously, if the time runs out, it's game over. Thankfully, though, it only takes about 8 shots. Victory is ours in 75 seconds. Pretty good song, though. He doesn't really try to attack you aside from punches, though. My every move is a testament to my comrades' lives. You have no idea how much greater my cause is. Yeah, you're going kind of crazy there, Viper. I will see retribution, even if I have to crawl to deliver it. I missed that last line, but okay. We don't really care at this point. We just need to try and kill this guy now. What's really odd, though, is that he starts repeating lines after a while. Like, I think he starts repeating them now. Yeah, why would they program only like 4 lines where it takes 8 hits? A unique line per hit shouldn't be that hard unless they were really running out of memory at this point. Which I don't know how big of a Game Boy Color game this is, but it's kind of stupid. Either way, the time limit's actually not that bad. Viper's pretty easy. His actual fight was one of the best in the game, so this is kind of disappointing, honestly. And that's Endgame, ladies and gentlemen. How is that terrible? Ugh. I've shut the controls down. There's no way to launch now. I'm out. How can I be beaten by you? Snake, how do you do it? How do you keep fighting? Living? For what? Whom? In the name of what cause? It's over, my comrades. I didn't do right by you all. Viper. Oh, hello, person on the radar. Oh, Sophie. Snake. It's you. The General. I heard all of it, including the part about the GLF and US. I see. What will you do now? Stay here. With GLF? Yes. Continue the General's work. Right now, I don't even know whether I loved him or hated him. I just couldn't leave his side. His ideals may have been faked, but they weren't empty. That's what I think. And there are many here who still believe that too. We'll work together to build a country of our own, for ourselves. This time with real ideals. Oh, hey, Chris! Snake! It's her. Don't keep her waiting. I won't. He called your name, you know. At the end. Did he? Snake! I got us a Jeep! Good work. Is it over? Yes, it's all over. Is it? What about her? She's strong. And she'll become even stronger. You don't have to go with her? To GLF? Why? Nothing, really. Let's get out of here. Right. Wait, there's the Kodak. Snake! Colonel, everything alright? Yeah, I'll put a bullet in McBride. You. Snake, I owe you an apology. It's true that I was in charge of Black Chamber's termination. We were told that there was a terrorist group coming in. Secret liquidation on a dark night. Only when it was all over I was told that the target had been one of our own, an American unit. Was that your reason for the retirement? Yes. I lived with this guilt for 2 years. But when they hijacked Metal Gear, I was called in by NSA Chief Steve Gardner, the mission controller. So you took the job to confront the past. A job which was offered to me with the alternative of making the incident public. Along with evidence that I was who planned the thing. Blackmail, huh? But how would Gardner know about that? Probably dug it up somewhere. He is a former CIA director. Former DCI? Don't tell me. 7 years ago during the Outer Heaven incident, who was the DDCI? Now you've got it. Gardner was the Deputy Director of Central Intelligence, alright. Weasel. He was the one who organized Outer Heaven and the development of Metal Gear. Metal Gear used to be under CIA control, like Viper said. Gardner was also the one who salvaged the Metal Gear U-Total from Outer Heaven, and continued the development program. In other words, Project Babel was actually his idea. But 2 years ago, Metal Gear was seized by foreign terrorists, and as a result, the control of the weapon and leadership of Project Babel was transferred away to Parker and the Army. And Gardner had a Black Chamber erased to ensure their silence. Gardner's anonymous? Weasel, you're not. Under Gardner's direct command, you guessed it, Snake. What? And another thing, Gardner knew who McBride was from the beginning. What? Well, it was Gardner who leaked the intel about Metal Gear to McBride, and Black Chamber, to begin with. For what purpose? I see it. Gardner was setting Parker up. Right. If GLF seizes Metal Gear and goes out of control, the blame will land on Parker, with his longtime aide to GLF. And Metal Gear and Project Babel will return happily ever after to Gardner's arms. Could he possibly have engineered Black Chamber's contact with GLF? I don't know, but it could be. That Gardner will plan this whole thing, just to regain Metal Gear and Project Babel? Oh god. Weasel, if you're under orders from Gardner, don't you have another job to carry out? To kill us all once the mission has succeeded? Sharp, Snake. That's exactly right. So that's the real reason a mercenary of your standing wasn't sent on the field. Right again. I'm about the only person who can take on the legend. Weasel, you're going to kill us? Like I said, it's a policy of mine to earn my keep. How can you... So I'd like to say. But unfortunately, I kinda like you people. Especially your bleeding heart ways. Totally wrong for a combat situation, you know? It's been a while since I met people like you. Weasel! Get out of here. I'll feed some story to Gardner. Probably only get half my pay for letting you escape, but who cares? Are you going to be alright? You could be in danger. I know how to take care of myself. Don't you worry. Thank you, Weasel. I'll repay the debt someday. I won't be counting on it. If I could live the way you people do, maybe I wouldn't have had let my brother die. The Colonel and the rest are alright. Good. Let's go. I had nothing around me that I could believe in. Not my parents, not anyone else. That's why I joined the army. It gave me a sense of right and wrong, of justice and purpose, but that wasn't the right way. Beliefs can't be borrowed. They have to be looked for and thought about by yourself. I have to face myself and start searching, and I will find it. That's good. But, if possible, maybe I can make that search with you at my side? Yeah, I'd like that too. Really? Really. I came down to heaven to settle a score with the past. That was what I thought. But that wasn't the truth. I realized that when I met you. What I really wanted was death. What I wanted after everything had been decided was for someone to take my life. I must have been afraid of seeing what was left standing of myself as I really was. Is that how you still feel? No. I think I want to live. Accept myself. Forgive myself. Life is worth living even if it hurts you. Even if you hurt in it. You taught me that. You were my salvation. Snake. That's why I've decided to go back. Back? To the States? Uh-huh. Don't. There's no way they'll let you go. They'll be waiting for you. And it's probably Foxhound. I know that. But I have to go back. Why? To understand. Why we had to fight this fight. What it was that I did. And who Solid Snake was. I'm going to confront the faceless men who play chess with people's lives and hearts in the shadows. So that I can understand. And they will confess. Every conspiracy they wove, every victim left on the trail of their private game. Everything. It's the only thing I can do for the casualties of their and my dirty war. Snake. Unless I do that, there'll be no forgiveness and nothing for me to find. Don't worry, I'm going back so I can live. When I made them pay, I'll be back. Will you wait for me? You can count on it. And ladies and gentlemen, that's the game's ending. Kind of abrupt. Well, not abrupt. It got a climax, but kind of cliffhangerish, huh? The weird thing about Ghost Babel is that they seem to be expanding for a sequel of its own, but it never got one. The Ghost Babel timeline ends here. So that's kind of odd. But yeah, that's Ghost Babel, ladies and gentlemen, and I gotta say, it's a pretty damn fine game. And the best way I can describe it, as I did earlier, was that it's Metal Gear 2 Solid Snake with a bit of added stuff on the Game Boy Color. And it's honestly pretty fun for that. Sadly, if you want to play this, it was only ever on the Game Boy Color, and cartridges fetch a pretty high price on Amazon, so emulation might be your way to go for it, but I'd say it's worth at least one shot through. It's a pretty fine Metal Gear game. The thing I just don't like about it, though, is that they set up this whole thing that they're going to fight with Gardner and Parker and shit, but it never got resolution. Heck, the closest that we ever got to seeing this kind of game again was Portable Ops. Because that game's storyline has a good amount of similarities to this. But we never got stuff on that, sadly. But for beating the game, you actually do get some stuff. Namely, the VR mission mode, which essentially you get to go through all the stages we went through the main game, all 13, and do a couple of missions in each one, some of which are like completing the stage in a certain amount of time, finding hidden emblems, meeting attacks head-on, all sorts of stuff. But the cool thing is, upon completing them all, you get one last scene with someone named Number 4, who is talking about someone playing those special missions, which are actually VR missions, as a participant named Jack. Which is odd because that's an actual character in the main canon who is Raiden from Metal Gear Solid 2. So, unless this is also part of the VR mission stuff you had to play, as they go over in that game, that's kind of an odd thing to bring in. But yeah, this game is pretty fun, honestly. Not my favorite Metal Gear game. It's one I probably wouldn't go back to too often, but I do like the stage-based structure and how it minimizes backtracking, because backtracking, while I don't have too much of a problem with it, it can get annoying in some of the Metal Gear games because it gets kind of bad in some of them. But yeah, that's Metal Gear Ghost Babel. Pretty fun. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, we only have one game left in the Metal Gear Marathon, and that is my favorite out of the ones we played so far. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, is Metal Gear Solid on the PlayStation. Snake, are you blowing stuff up again? I think he's blowing stuff up again. And at the end of the game, you're giving your ranking like you would be in the Solid series onwards. Tarantula and such... Well, first off, they misspelled it. I'm not exactly sure what determines the ranking. I think it's obviously all 4 of these, but I'm not sure what determines what exactly. I know Big Boss is like no rations, no kills, no fines in under like an hour or something. It's ridiculous. And that's the special menu from which you can do like all the VR missions and stuff. It's pretty cool. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in Metal Gear Solid. I won't have to read any more lines, yay!